we're going to go over everything that I missed. I forgot to talk about the armor penetration. I forgot about that you can use different one-handed weapons if you want to, and the bars and the macros. We're ignoring 51% of enemy armor. We get that from our PvP set, which gives us 20. We get 25 from this full Sunder stacks, and also from our armor penetration, we get 6% basically, ignoring 51% of enemy armor. So I forgot to mention that in the video. You're not stuck with using the hedge cutters if you want to. You can play around different weapons, what feels best for you. Um, I have the PvP set of the Corporal hand axes, so you can use these if you want to. A little fun combo that I've been trying to do is keeping the hedge cutters as the main weapon to trigger the heroic strikes every second. And then with Aldraxis, the legendary enchant, it'll actually take the weapon damage from your heavy hitting weapon off your offhand because this is a more slower, stronger version. So I've been kind of playing around with that. But yeah, you can do whatever you feel like doing. You can switch for both of them and so forth and so on. For the macros that I miss, my macros are actually pretty simple. For the battle stance itself, it's going to be equip armor set arms 1 and cast battle stance. And how I did that is that all you do is you press C on your character screen, it opens your character menu, you go to equipment manager, and then you set your armor set like this. So you can do armor set 1 is your dual wielding weapons, and armor set 2 is like your shield if you want to do it that way. But there's a whole different way you can do it when you go into defensive stance, but we'll talk about that later. The only macro that I do have for battle stance is the cast sequence reset by 5 seconds with Hamstring, Rend, and Berserker Stance. What this macro does is that it makes life a lot easier. So when I charge into a battle or any enemy, I always apply Hamstring and I always apply Rend before I go into Berserker Stance. So when I'm always mashing my buttons and when I see my character go into Berserker Stance, I know that I applied Hamstring and Rend and not thinking about it because for me to get into my Berserker Stance, I had to cast those two abilities. So it makes life a lot easier when you charge it into somebody and always applying Hamstring and Rend. In our Berserker Stance, we only actually have 3 macros for this. The first macro is the Whirlwind, followed up by Heroic Strike, Heroic Strike, Heroic Strike, Heroic Strike. You can add as many as you want. You can do 3 Heroic Strikes, 5 Heroic Strikes. It's up to you how many Heroic Strikes you feel like doing. What this macro does is that make sure that in our rotation that we're always casting Whirlwind to make sure that we're always proccing Titan Fury to make our heroic strike cost no rage at all. So this is the way that I've did it. It makes life a lot easier that way. The second macro is Hamstring, Sunder Armor, Heroic Strike, Heroic Strike. This what this does is that makes sure that while we're fighting an enemy that we're always applying Hamstring in a sequence and not spamming Hamstring over and over again. And same with Sunder Armor, that we're always applying Sunder Armor somewhat during the fight over and over and over again. So longer the fight lasts, eventually the opponent will have a full stack of Sunder Armor, and then we're ignoring 51%. And the very last one, the most fun one, is Siegebreak cast sequence. Basically, Siegebreak, and then when you use Siegebreak, you intercept right after, and that's the way that I have it all set and done. And that's basically all the macros for the Berserker stance. For the defensive stance is a little bit different. Like I mentioned before, what you have to do is equipment slot 16, equipment slot 17. Equipment slot 16 is going to be your Blood Forge Hedge Cutter or your weapon. The 17 is going to be your shield. And then you do cast defensive stance, cast Blood Rage, and spell reflection. So what that does is it makes sure that you're always able to cast Blood Rage and Spell Reflection. And you'll notice that I only have Blood Rage within the defensive stance. The reason why I have it only in the defensive stance and not my offensive abilities is because I don't need it for my offensive abilities because they're generating enough rage for themselves. But it makes sure that if we see a Warlock casting Chaos Bolt, we're going to definitely need that Spell Reflection and able to Spell Reflect his big spell. So this makes sure that I always know that when I need to use that Spell Reflect and get that 15 rage to use it, I always have it on command. So it makes life a lot easier. And that is basically it for the macros. We'll go over the bars a little bit. So basically it's just charge. And the second one right here is actually auto attack. What the auto attack does is like it's like for rogues and like stealthers, and it like just kind of automatically hits them out of their stealth. So when we're fighting in combat and stuff like that, if you go to the general spell tab, you can drag your auto attack down here in the bar, and what it does is it actually helps auto select and hit the target really quickly. So as you can see, I didn't need to hit the tab button. I didn't need to hit any buttons. It just automatically selected a target and we attacked right away. So that helps with your DPS a lot, especially when you're casting abilities and sometimes your warrior won't do the auto attack sometimes. So it makes life a lot easier. So it's a must-have on your warrior bar to put your auto attack there. It makes life easy. The other part that I have is Shattering Throw, followed up with a charge. I also put an Overpower in there because it's a rare occasion that it does proc, but it's better than nothing. And when having a free ability to hit your opponent for 5 rage, it's a win-win situation. So it does happen once in a while. And of course, what you see on the rest of the bar is the Hamstring, rend, and Berserker Stance macro followed up with Intimidating Shots. So that's how I have it set up. For the Berserker Stance bars, I have 2 of the Whirlwind macros with the Heroic Strikes. Execute, Recklessness, Blade Storm. I'm the Hamstring, Sunder, Heroic Strike combo, Sweeping Strikes, Berserker Rage, Siegebreaker, and Intercept combo, and Mortal Strikes. That's my Berserker Stance bars. And for my defensive stance is Blood Rage, Spell Reflect, Heroic Strike, Disarm, Shield Slam, Revenge, Shield Block, Shield Wall, Shield Bash, Enrage Generation, and Mortal Strike. So yeah, that is basically it, and we're going to do a small little recap. The character does 51% armor penetration. You can use any one-handed weapon you want, but you have to make sure that it is an axe, so we have better critical strike rating and critical strike damage bonus, and the macros and the bars. So those are the things that I missed in the video. If there's anything else that I missed, please let me know. Then I have to cover it again, but I'm pretty sure that is it. It's a really fun build to play around with, and I can't wait to test it out in arena and PvP. So you guys have a wonderful day.